24/7. 24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika nakupenda sana. Oh, Afrika nakupenda sana.
Wow, Africa, Africa nakupenda sana. You know, when you hear that sound, we know you have come to the right platform. This is the African Experience show on the Bold Moves Radio. You have the appointment with me, Dr. HLAMI Ngwenya. Tonight, my co-host is not there. She's actually traveling, exploring Africa. This is what we do. We explore Africa. We want to know what Africa holds for us. Our show tonight is very exciting, and we want to welcome our listeners. We want to welcome you on Facebook, on all our YouTube channels and other platforms. We say welcome. We have a very exciting event today. Let me just remind you what the show is all about. The show is all about celebrating everything beautiful about Africa. We celebrate her people, we celebrate her culture, we celebrate her food. We talk anything and everything positive about Africa, and we are very intentional about it. Tonight's show is very exciting. It's very, very close to my heart. The theme is the pen soldiers in Africa. We have two powerful ladies who are going to tell us everything and anything that they do with the pen. Welcome to the African Experience show. We have Haroldene Tshienda and we have Anthea Thyssen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Yes. Anthea, welcome to the show. Okay, I think Anthea is still connecting, but I know she's here. We will talk to her very shortly. Haroldene, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Haroldene Tshienda?
Oh, I didn't know Haroldene Tshienda. You've got so many heads. Haroldene Tshienda is originally from Port Elizabeth. First, it was Port Elizabeth. Now it's Gqeberha. Grew up there for quite a few years and moved to Cape Town in 1999. I am the seventh child of my parents, and I call myself number 7. I'm a mother of 4. I'm married. I'm having 2 businesses, and I am an activist, an ambassador for Up to Me, where we definitely fight for our women and children against violence and abuse.
Okay, you talk about I'm number 7. I know you talk very passionately about it, and we're going to unpack that. Let me see if Anthea is with us. Anthea, can you hear me? Okay, hello? I cannot hear. Yes. Welcome to the Africa. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Just tell us a little bit about who you are. Who is Anthea Thyssen?
Anthea Thyssen is just a humble girl who was born on a farm in the Western Cape. I am a mother of a 10-year-old. I am a poetess and author, educational and environmental activist, and I'm a speaker.
Yeah. I'm so excited to actually have both of you on the show today, the show where we are talking about the pen soldiers in Africa. And I know both of you, I actually stalk you. I'm following you on your social media. There is no single day where I don't look at, the things that you are posting on your social media, because you are promoting everything and anything around, writing, reading, and all that. Let me go with Haroldene. Haroldene, I know that you run a publishing company, but maybe before we even come to the publishing company, what inspired your journey to write? I know you didn't start as a writer, but somewhere something happened where you say, okay, I can actually be a writer. What inspired that journey?
I always loved reading and writing since I was a child. But where it really started was where I started to write was in 2007, between 2007 2008, when I went through quite a difficult time, divorce, loneliness, losing of custody of my children, dismissed from my work, not know who I am, finding myself, rejection. And I went through for so many counseling sessions and I've never felt satisfied. And this little voice inside of me pulled me to a book, and I penned down my feelings, writing letters to God, letters to myself, finding out who I really am. You know, if you write something down, and you read it over and over, then you realize, then
Mhm.
it's starting to sink in, and asking myself so many questions with very little answers. That is where my writing actually started. And I just wrote letters to myself, and I never thought of publishing it. And then I gave it to some of my colleagues at the time at Africa Unite, where I work, a human rights NGO. And they said, Haroldene, you have to publish this work. And I I received so many platforms to actually share my poetry. And that is literally how my writing started. And my first title that
Okay.
came from there is Never Give Up, Healing Words from a Poet, because I wrote to heal.
Ah, I see. So that was your first book, but we'll come to
Yes.
that. There's something interesting, and I have my pen here. I'm writing. When you
Mm.
introduce yourself, you said you are your seventh child in your family, and now you said something. You started writing something around 2007, and I see
Correct,
the
yes.
number seven coming,
Yes,
popping again, and we'll unpack
always.
that because I know there is a book that you wrote where you say I am number seven. We'll
Correct,
actually
yes.
come back to that.
All right.
Anthea, Anthea, can you hear me? I
Yes,
know you are an
yes, I
activist, you
can.
have just said, but what inspired you to actually take the journey that you are taking?
The journey actually started when my son was 4 years old. I was living in the UK and I was volunteering at the school where he was attending. And they were telling stories about Africa. And then I was sitting in these classes and realized, but that's not the Africa that I'm from. So I decided at that time that the best thing for me to do is to start writing, because I think it's time for us to rewrite our stories, because our stories have always been told by others on behalf of us. And that is how the desire started for me to begin to write from where we are, what we know, because history was not written by us. So we were discovered or conquered by everybody, but nobody has given us an opportunity to write our own story. And so that is where the activism started. And in 2016, I actually launched my first book, and it was called Nothing is Impossible. And
Okay.
I was a self-publishing author, and that is how I started off to write.
Okay, and I just want to pick on that because you are saying nobody gave us an opportunity. And somebody who's listening will say, but opportunities are there, you can actually take it. But I know in the work that you do, it's not just an opportunity is there, but surely people need to be given an opportunity. And hence the work that you are actually doing. Give those people who under normal circumstances will not be able to access or writing, publishing company that might be expensive and all that, but you are creating an opportunity for somebody to actually write. Am I correct to interpret that in that way, Anthea?
I agree. I agree with you. And what I want to say to listeners tonight, you start writing, you take a book, you start scripting or you start typing. And what you do is, if you don't have money even to publish your book, print a sample of your book, ask your friends to start reading it and start improving your book. The National Library of South Africa, anyone can request an ISBN number from them. Start with the small beginnings, and when you are ready and confident enough, when you receive feedback from your friends, you can start asking for crowdfunding and people to help you. But self-publishing is not easy because you need to find ways to pay for your book. But I want to tell every listener tonight, don't let that stop you. Ask your friends to support you and start with 5 books or 10 books to print. And as people get to know your work, give you feedback, you improve it, you review it. And that is how you can build up until you can publish more copies. Because it's not everybody that is privileged to use publishing companies. But I want to tell each listener tonight, don't let that stop you from writing your book.
Yeah, I love that. And I think maybe I want to share a personal story as well, how I got to meet, the two of you. I remember I got to know Anthea. I was still back in Pretoria. We met and, we were talking about everything and nice things and whatever. And I actually asked you, my daughter and I are publishing books, but we don't even know how to go about it and things like that. And you really encouraged us. Fast forward, I was in the Western Cape, and I called on you to say, now my book is ready. How should I go about publishing it? And you said to me, there's somebody that I know. And you linked me with Haroldene.
Yeah.
And I went and met Haroldene. I was just blown away. My first meeting with her just, encouraged me. And I just felt like an author already, even before I became one. You actually held me by the hand to actually encourage me to do that. Tell us a little bit more about your publishing company and what is your model of, supporting people that want to publish. Haroldene?
Yes, certainly. Can you hear me or see me? Because I can't see
Yes,
any
loud
better.
and clear.
All
Loud
right,
and
well,
clear.
lovely. Because the power just went off the other side, so something is not right. But nevertheless, I started Tshienda Publications in 8 years ago. Literally this year, it's our 8th year of publishing books. And with my first book, I have struggled to get the right publisher. And every publisher, it's either they charge me like you're buying a new house or a car, or they're not transparent with information. And I literally went to make a loan at Capitec to publish my first book. And when it arrived, it was a terrible book. And I knew, that is when I realized, but I have better skills. I can do this. I can do that. I can do this. This is what I do at work. I might as well just publish my own book. And I canceled my contract and I republished my book. That was the first product of Tshienda Publications. First, it was Lounge of Poetry. And then as a poet, you start writing poetry. You want to now be amongst other poets.
Yep.
And it was Lounge of Poetry. And then I realized, but this is not just poetry. People are coming to me now for information that I give freely and lovely, and passionately, And I decided,
Okay. Yeah. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's very exciting. We will take a commercial break very soon, but when we come back, we're going to listen to more of what the two ladies have to share. There's a lot of exciting things that they are doing behind those closed doors. So we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to hear more about these inspiring stories and how they support other people and all that. We're going to take a commercial break and we'll come back.
Wonderful.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the African Experience on Bold Moves Radio. I'm your host, HLAMI. Today, we have a very exciting show. We are talking to two powerful ladies who decided to say, you know what, it's not going to stay in our head. We're going to write it. We're going to put it on the pen, and we're going to share and share our knowledge and spread the word. Okay, so before we went on the commercial break, Haroldene was still sharing a little bit about her publishing company, but we'll come back to that. I want to turn to Anthea. Anthea, I'm stalking you, like I said, on your social media platform. And what I have seen, you always encourage people to read. You collect books and books and books. Tell us a little bit more about that campaign. Why is it important?
So in 2018, I decided that I'm going to honor self-published authors on the continent. So what I did was I contacted a couple of authors that I knew, and I started to honor them for the braveness for them, for penning their stories. So in 2018, I started off with 21 people, 21 authors, self-publishing authors, where we got together on my birthday because I decided that as an African, I'm going to serve nations on my birthday. And so this project started off, and every year are sending their books for me from all over Africa. I read it myself. It's not a competition. I read it and I honor them because I want them to be inspired to write more books and for others also to start writing. So that was the whole idea, because I realize that if you publish through publishing houses, you will have a lot of exposure. But for any normal person, they will never have that opportunity. So my platform actually gave people publicity, and they were able to go on TV and on radio to market their books more. So basically, I'm helping ordinary authors to become extraordinary in the industry.
Okay, and I know we took, some pictures of, that. Let us show the picture of, that award that you started, because I want you to unpack a little bit. You say you started in 2018, and what I love about it, it's you do it on your birthday. So instead of you receiving gifts from people, you receive books that you read, and you use your birthday to actually honor people. Am I interpreting that correctly?
So basically what happened was I grew up in a very Christian-based house. But that was one element of my upbringing, but also my mother was a giver. So I have seen giving and serving from a very young age, and we were surrounded by blessings our whole lives. We never lacked. So for me, it was an opportunity to say, let me try it out myself and celebrate other people on my birthday. And so the servanthood attitude kicked in, and I said to myself, I want to be a servant. I want to serve nations. And this project has allowed me to do that. Because what I realized is, HLAMI, I served you by planting a seed to say, write your book. When you're ready, I will be there. And you came back to me. And when you came back, Haroldene helped you to publish it, and I honored you. So basically, we as authors or writers, we begin to serve each other. And basically, through servanthood, we are basically practicing Ubuntuism. Because I see you, and because I am, because we are. And this project is now a book community, a pen warriors community. And this year we call it Pen Soldiers, because we are actually an army.
Yes,
we can keep on the world with writing everything that we want to do, to unite and to heal and to give people hope and to encourage.
Okay, I like that and I like how you play around with words. I can feel the poet in you. You spoke about pen warriors. Now we are soldiers because we are a multitude. hold on that, because I still want us to say a little bit about that, because some people might be saying, when is this, thing happening? We will come back to that. Now, let me go back, to Haroldene. And I love it when you say we serve and we support each other. Haroldene, here you
Yes.
are, 20, whatever, you have your first book. 8 years later, how many books do you have? And what are the
I
titles?
I personally have published 8 books of myself, as long as my company is established. 8 years, 8 books
Hmm.
every year. I published a book in celebration of my 8 years birthing books. In
So you want to tell me that on average you were able to publish at least one book per year.
Yes, correct.
Oh my God. And I still have one. Oh my God. The pressure is actually coming here. But tell me, I also looked at your books. The titles are very, very compelling.
Yeah.
Just, we were seeing a picture of number seven, and I know she's poetry. Just give us, just the titles of your books so that, we
So,
entice people a bit.
sure.
Mm.
My first book is Never Give Up. The
Hmm.
second one is Moving from Pain to Power. Then it's Black Poetry. A
Okay.
Woman's World. She is Poetry. Beyond the Pain. Um, I
I'm
Am
number
Number.
seven. Yes.
And then the last one is Pieces of Her.
So, and I'm number seven is your seventh book.
Correct, yes.
Okay, let's go back, to that seven, the number seven, because why do you say you are number seven? Already in our conversation, I picked a few things. You are child number seven. You started writing in 2007, and that is your seventh book. But I know there
Yeah.
might be a lot of seven that
Yes,
warrant you to say you are number seven. Can you tell us a
absolutely.
bit more about that?
Yes, Anthea is actually part of my I Am Number Seven because
Okay,
she honored me on my seventh book. Her birthday is on the
I
seventh,
see. I
in the
see.
seventh month.
Hmm.
Um, I'm born in 77. I'm the seventh child of my parents. I got divorced in 2007. My kids were taken for 7 years and brought back to me in the seventh year. My husband's birthday is in the seventh year, seventh month. I was sterilized for 14 years, 7 plus 7, and
Okay.
I had a miracle baby
Yeah.
again, also born on the 27th, and the 7th is just coming up all
There's
the time.
no
When the 7th
doubt.
appears somewhere, no, Haroldene is either to complete, or miracle is happening, or something new is happening in my life.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt that you are number seven. And I like the way you actually package it and you put it in the book. Whew,
Yeah.
this is very, very exciting. So now let us come to the numbers. Here you are, your company, it's 8 years old. How
Yes.
many publishers? I'm one of them. My daughter and
Yes.
I have, Tshienda
Yes. Yes.
public publications, and we love it. But how many other people did you actually support to publish?
Sure. Um, Thousands.
Hmm.
Some of them I've done for free. I didn't even want to be mentioned, but I have
Mhm.
published thousands, birthing thousands. I am literally a midwife of thousands of books.
Okay. Okay, this is very, very interesting. Now, what is your partnership that you have with Anthea?
In 2021, it was during COVID, and they
Mm-hmm.
contacted me. I first um, liked her profile on Facebook and friended her, and then she contacted me that she would like to
Mm-hmm.
honor me for my book that I was
Okay.
already promoting at the time.
Hmm.
And I think it was She's Poetry, and I was happy, and I told her, but I'm not just an author, I'm also a publisher. Can't I was very honored and pleased, but I also, as I grow, I like to take people with me.
Yeah.
And I asked her, is it possible that I can also nominate another few?
Mm-hmm.
Pardon. And
Sure.
I nominated 10 authors, and she said, I have space for more because there's something about you and your company. And that is how our souls literally collided, and we became partners, soul sisters, and we have the same vision. She's supporting mine, I'm supporting hers, and this is how we can connect. She call herself the bridge to humanity. I call her the bridge between Tshienda publications and authors that have never been acknowledged or
Yep.
awarded for their work.
Okay. I love what I'm hearing. So just listening to both your stories, what I'm picking is the servanthood. You serve one another.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
and I know a lot of people will be talking about the PhDs. The PhD, the pool head Down syndrome, but you don't do that. You don't do
No,
the
no, 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 no,
PhDs. You
no, no.
actually uplift one another. You take one another. And I like what you are saying. She invited you to honor you. And you say,
Yeah.
no, 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 I'm not coming alone. You know, for me, it shows how selfless you two are. If it was me, I was like, I'm going alone because I'm going to be honored. But you are saying I'm actually bringing some people.
Yes.
Oh, it's very exciting. We will
And the
be going
first,
for
yes, and it was 27 authors that she actually honored from Tshienda
at that time.
Publications.
At that
Yeah.
time. Okay, so yes, and we'd like to hear more about what you're gonna do next. But we're gonna take a very short commercial break again. When we come back, Anthea, I want you to tell, because I know you also collect books, which you donate in schools and
Mm.
all that. I would like you to say something about that. Then we go back again to, these, African authors, award that you are holding, and you have to tell us about the theme for this year. But you also have other exciting, words and ethnizer, and I don't know. These are the things that I'm picking when I'm following you on your Facebook channel. But anyway, when we come back, we're going to look at that. We're gonna take a short commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away, because we still have a lot that these two ladies have to share with us. We're gonna take a
Are you ready for the ultimate dietary powerhouse? Look no further than Masana Dietitian's Nutro Boost. Our scientifically formulated low GI food is designed to give you the boost you need to fuel your body and reach your health goals. With NutriBoost, you have the flexibility to enjoy it as a high-fiber cereal or a satisfying shake. Simply mix it with water and indulge in the mouth-watering flavors that we have to offer. But that's not all. NutriBoost is packed with essential nutrients that are beneficial for your overall well-being. Enriched with 20 immune-boosting vitamins and minerals, it's a convenient and effective way to support your immune system. And here's the best part. NutriBoost is gluten-free, egg-free, and high in omega-3, making it suitable for those with dietary restrictions or allergies. Need an energy boost? NutriBoost has you covered. It's high in energy and protein, providing you with the fuel you need to power through your day. Whether it's a busy morning or an intense workout session, say goodbye to midday slumps and hello to sustained energy with NutriBoost. Try it today and experience the difference. For orders or to become a distributor, contact us on the following details.
Wow. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, to the African Experience with me, Dr. HLAMI. Today we are really speaking that topic that is very close to my heart. It's about books. It's about publishing. And we have in our midst, two powerful ladies. Honestly, I could speak to them for hours and hours. We have not even made a dent on how much they have to offer. I see we have, some listeners that are joining us online. They say, good evening, ladies. I can see there is a Theo Langenhoven. She's saying, good evening, ladies. Wow, so inspiring. And we have Tsakan Baba say, she's saying, good evening there. Ooh. And we also have Taboli Hall. Oh, good evening, Doc. Yes, we have Pumlama Baso. Good evening, family. We have, Jolene Mangani. Good evening, Dr. HLAMI and the African Experience family. We are so blessed today. Oh, a lot of people have joined in. They are feeling so inspired about, the ladies that we are talking to today. Before the break, I said, Anthea, I know other than, the books that you collect for the people that you honor, but you also collect a lot of books which you donate to schools and all that. Tell us a little bit more about that, and why do you think it's important for those schools or libraries to actually have those books?
I don't know if you and the listeners are aware that the illiteracy rate amongst children is very high. Our children cannot read with understanding. And South African parents are depending on schools to teach their children to read. And so my heart goes out to a child that cannot read or cannot afford a book, because I know that books are expensive. And a lot of, the majority of people don't have money to buy books. So I started off by buying books from big organizations, and then I will distribute it to schools or to women who are doing book reading clubs, because my concern is that if you don't have children that can read, then our children will not be able to excel in school. And we sit with a high unemployment rate too. And if our children don't have access to books, it becomes a problem, because how will they get through the schooling system? And because I'm a mother of a young child, it breaks my heart, because I have to think of his fellow peers that will be behind and he will be far ahead. So as a mother, I just don't care and love my own child. I love the continent's children. And I want them all to be equally, or at least have a start in life. And reading is one of those starting points for any human being on the continent.
I hear you. And I know you don't only just collect books, you also read. Do you know how many books have you read so far?
I've read thousands. Basically, for this year, I collected 150 books. And I can read 2 books in the wee hours of the morning, because I can proofread. So I read very fast. Yeah. But also, it's so funny, every year when I meet all these hundreds of authors, when they tell me their names, I know the title of the books and I can tell them what they have been writing about. The only books that I cannot read is the books that comes in other languages, because I can only speak English and Afrikaans. And so I get other people to read those books, and they translate the stories to me, and even the poems.
Wow. Wow. This is so, so inspiring. You know what? It's so humbling for me to actually see, 2 African women, 2 African ladies who are actually doing this. And I'm saying this because, every time you read, like you said, introductory remarks, that, the African stories are actually told by other people. If there is one thing where we are so weak as Africans, is to write. We are an oral society and all that, but we don't write. We don't document. We don't write. And I'm happy because I see a lot of writers are upcoming. I see Tembeni Mklongo there saying, good evening. Wow, ladies, you inspire me to start writing. Halala to you. And I know Tembeni in person, I will be nagging. I will be on your back, Tembeni. Start writing that book, and I will be nagging and nagging. You are not gonna be out of off the hook there. I see you. I see Dr. Mkateko Mabunda saying, "Welcome back, Doc. Thank you so much." Today, yes, we are on in Mzansi. Who? Yeah. Okay. So we'll come again before you go. We want you to actually share with some people like Tembeni, who says, I'm going to write, but maybe she might not even know after writing what do I need to do with it? But we'll come back to that. Haroldene, let me come
Yes.
to you. You don't only give people opportunity to publish. You
Yes.
also have created a poetry cycle.
Circle, yes.
Yeah, the poetry cycle and all that. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I publish a lot of poetry. And most of the poets have never really perform or recite their work ever. And I have amazing team members that I call my brothers and sister. Devonitia, Nashville, Jeremy, and Quentin. I approached them because I published them before and said, listen here, there are people who keep on asking me about no platform to perform the poetry that I'm publishing for them. And they said yes. And Jeremy opened his home. He had no venue, he had no name. Was birthed in his lounge last year in June.
Hmm. Okay, but then that have grown, and I think we have a picture of your upcoming, open mic.
Yes,
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about how that has grown, because I know I have attended a number of, open mic
yes,
sessions,
yeah,
and that is very, very inspiring.
yeah,
And here I see people who have never published, people who have just, written a poem. They are not
correct.
even sure how people are going to
Yes,
respond to
yes,
that. But when they come to the open mic, they actually, they are so surprised how people actually like
yeah,
the work that they have done. Yeah.
yeah.
So what is your
Poets
vision for this open mic poetry cycle?
Poets Funny Carp is literally for anyone who loves writing and who wants to grow as a poet or a writer or a speaker, even because you don't need to write a poem in order to be part of the poetry circle. We are just a bunch of people. We give a platform to just perform and be themselves. There's no judging. You can just come and produce and share whatever you have on your heart. And they are people who are now just very good with performing poetry, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just we encourage one another. Every poetry circle we do it once a month. You'll see this person, and Tabu is listening now, he's one of them. He's just growing and becoming more confident, and I think this is just a platform in a
Yeah.
house where you can be yourself and just do and just be amongst people who does the same and wants to grow in literacy. And what is so nice, each member always bring another person who actually wants to who's inspired to write or is inspired to actually publish or to just perform their work.
Hmm. That is very, very interesting. I can see some of the listeners really agree with the whole culture of reading as well. I see Dr. Mkateko Mabunda there. She growing up, my father always encouraged us to read. He will buy the
Mm,
encyclopedias and the magazines such as the Reader's Digest. And now, as an adult, I have realized that my siblings and I are so well spoken. That
mm,
is very, very interesting. And I
fantastic.
think it goes back also to what, Anthea had said, that,
Yeah,
she wants to encourage children to read from the early age so that, actually you grow up, as readers, but also
yeah,
be able to comprehend. Ooh, ladies, I just love what I'm hearing. I love the way you don't want to grow, alone, but you actually bring other people as well so that, we become, these pen soldiers in Africa.
yeah.
Okay, so now we are still, having, some exciting things here. So let me see. I'll talk to Anthea. Anthea, I want to go back again to, the award that you have. And I think I have a picture that I harvested. I told you ladies that I'm really, really stalking you on your social media platform. So there is something where you have not that one, there is something where you have a statistics of where you started and a number. Yeah, there we go. I want you to speak a little bit about that, and you take us, year in, year out. I know you said you started in 2018 with 21 honorees, and let us take us through those numbers. Yeah. So I'm not sure if
For
you're able
me,
to see this. Yeah.
yes. So for me, it was year-on-year growth. I mean, those type of growth you don't find in normal organizations. I mean, when I started off, it's a self-funded project. So I started with 21 in 2018. Then it was 42. Then it moved to 100, over the 100. And then in lockdown, there was such an urge for people to write that I think it was 263 books that reached me. And for me, it was 5 months of just reading it. And because it was lockdown, we couldn't have events. But what I did was I created the first drive-through book awards on the continent, where people came to fetch their trophies in front of a restaurant where they were able to get out of their cars, collect their trophies, and they left. So basically, this project has spread to 25 countries on the continent. So this is not my work.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about those countries? Some of them?
The countries I can mention is Botswana, Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, Tanzania, Zambia, Zimbabwe is one of my biggest supporters. Namibia, too many to mention, but those are the countries that have entered, and every year these countries are sending their books through. And last year we had the highlight that Oswald from Zambia, an 11-year-old, was flown in by the Excellency, the President of Zambia, to attend the awards in Johannesburg. So this is the level where we have grown to, that literacy gets acknowledged amongst governmental institutions. And for us, it was really an honor for a president's office to ask me for a letter, a formal letter of invitation. And they made it possible for him to come. And I wish that in our country that, our government and organizations will also promote reading on this level, because this is where our children are lacking. So he was also a speaker at the event, and I think we all still in shock, because most of the time when I speak to the adult authors they're still quoting an 11-year-old author. So that was the impact, that an 11-year author was really causing people not to forget him, and to be reminded that anybody can pick up a pen and write. And if you don't want to write, you can record it on your phone, and you can get a ghostwriter to tell your story.
Okay, wow. So there is no justification for not actually telling our stories. That's what I'm hearing from you. Okay, so, and I want to pick up on that issue of, the young writers and all that, but we're going to do that when we come back from for another commercial break. Before we go to break, there is one listener here, Shamel Ralph. She's saying, Haroldene helped me in publishing my first book. I never knew I would be an author. For anyone who wants to write a book, and I think it is difficult, it is not. You must just have a good publisher on your side. Anthea and Haroldene are two phenomenal women. Beautiful, beautiful. We're going to go for a commercial break. When we come back, I want us to tell us about, the authors that you support, because someone out there might think, oh no, you only work with adults. But I hear that, there is an 11-year-old. So just think, who was your youngest author? Just give us, an age range. We're going to talk about that when we come back from a commercial break. Wow, wow, wow. Welcome back. Welcome back to our listeners. Tonight we are talking anything and everything about books. We're talking about, the pen soldiers in Africa. We are tonight with me, HLAMI Ngwenya, your host. Unfortunately, my co-host is not here tonight, but I'm sitting with two powerful ladies, Haroldene Tshienda and Anthea, Anthea there. And before we went on the commercial break, I wanted to tap your brain on who can actually be an author. Before we do that, I see another comment from Tembeni Mhlongo there, she's saying, wow, I like the fact that the focus is really on encouraging us as Africans to tell our stories. We need to dispel the myth that Africans don't read. Let us encourage each other to read. And I'm thinking, wow, maybe we should establish, an African experience book club so we can actually read one book a week or something like that. That would be very exciting. Okay, so let me come back to you. I hear I became the first author, poet author when I turned 50.
Yeah.
When you helped me publish my book, Perfectly 50. And I want to tell you something. I have never stopped. I don't know how many poems I have actually wrote up to
That's
now. I have not
amazing.
published my second one, but literally my kids go to an extent of saying, because every time I see something, I'm like, oh, that could be a title for a poem.
Ah,
When I hear something, that could be a title for another poem. My kids literally tease me because they will even say, talk all at once. Say, I'm sure that will be a title for another poem. But all
that's
I'm saying
lovely.
is that, because of that publishing, that journey that you took me through, I see everything around me as
Yeah.
poetry,
Yes.
Okay, but now let's go back, to the age. Who was the youngest publisher that you supported? So we want to give people so that they understand that publishing is not only for the 50-year-olds like us.
Yes.
Publishing can be for 11-year-old and someone else. Tell us a little bit more about that, and maybe
Um,
tell us the kind of books, the kind of books that people are interested or are publishing.
Published. Yeah,
Mm,
certainly.
mm,
My youngest author was 11 years old, Gabriella Weber. I published her in 2009. She was actually noticed by one of the workers from provincial parliament, and he brought it to me with a story. It was a novel that she wrote about something that she dreamt about in her science class. And I've published her. I actually published her for free because she really just wanted to share the story. And also at that time, it was where I was still finding myself as a publisher, enjoying sharing my passion, my newfound skills. Um, and from there, another young one was Amr Sali, also 11 years old. He wrote his book on his mother's cell phone. And then
wow, wow.
we've quite a number of young children around that age, from 11 years old, that actually write books and share the stories and see if it's worth publishing. But so far, it's for everyone. And also the type of books that I publish, it's mostly poetry. Recently, a lot of novels, but a lot of memoirs, biographies, autobiographies. And I think it's so great because we have so many beautiful stories from apartheid, from now, post apartheid, um, the struggles that we have. Nobody hear us, the government. We have given up on the government. We don't listen to them anymore. We fix our own stories. We write our own stories. We share our own stories, and we can't look at anyone anymore to give us help and assistance. We do it for ourselves. They lose out on missing out on such great stories and great people. Yeah, and that is what we do. We publish a number of books. We give also a lot of publishing packages for free for those who really have a great story and cannot actually pay for it, because it's not everything about money, but it's about about getting that story out, how important it is.
Okay.
And one thing for sure is now I'm working very hard to get most of these children's books into shops, as well as schools, mostly schools, because the books in schools are still of the United States. There's not very little books of our own people, and I think it's time that we need to change that.
Okay. I see Dr. Mkateko says 11 years, she's very surprised. Yes, yes, yes. So there is no justification for somebody not wanting to actually, write the story. You told us, there are
Yeah.
people who wrote, in cell phone and all that and whatnot. So you're really dispelling, this myth that maybe you need a very, fancy computer and things like
Yes,
that. But as long as you have an
absolutely.
idea, just, do that. Okay, I'm actually running out of time, but maybe I know some of the listeners out there might be asking themselves, if they wanted your services, how do they go about it and where do they contact you? Let me start with you, Haroldene.
Sure. You can go on our website, www.tshiendapublications.co.za. You can also check our Facebook page, which is at Tshienda Publications, and you will see all our work that we are doing. You can also check actually Poets Funny Carp. We have volume 1 and volume 2 that we've published so far of all the people that write poetry and stories. We put it in volumes. Volume 3 will be out soon, but that is where you can find me. And the details, contact details are all there. How to submit your books are there, and when to contact me, our trading hours, it's all on the website.
Okay, and I think, for that volume, normally this is also for somebody who might have, published one poem, and one poem is not sufficient to actually become a
Yes,
book. So
correct.
they have an opportunity to actually get, to publish that one poem with the collection of, others. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
that is an interesting one. Anthea, let me come back to you. Maybe before you tell us how people can reach out to you, tell us when your next, award ceremony is going to be, and whether you only invite the publishers and the people that you honor, or it's open for the public. Anthea? Okay, I think I might have lost her for a while, but Haroldene, I know you
Yes.
can also maybe tell us when, because I know you are attending. Do you know when that the African Authors Award is going to take place and where?
Yes. The award ceremony will take place in Johannesburg at the Genesis conference hall. And it's on the 31st of July. It's on a Monday, and it's literally open for everyone that would love to attend, be inspired. Anthea is she's gaga over poetry, so it's a poetry affair, and you meet and greet so many people. It's just a lovely African experience. People coming with their different attires and their poetry and their vibe. It's just gonna be
Yeah,
amazing.
it's
You
beautiful.
cannot miss it.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so now I would like to get maybe some parting shots for you from you. What can you say to somebody who's listening out there, to say, I don't even know where to start. What can you say? What can you encourage, somebody who's listening out there?
There's never a right time to start. When it comes in your mind, you just need to start. You will wait forever for inspiration. It will not come. It might not come. Just write. Even if it's one word, one line, one page, just start to write. Even if it doesn't make sense, just start to write. As soon, because they are coals. When you think about it, I call it the coals. It needs to be sparked. And if you can read something, if you can write something, if you can listen to something or someone that inspires you to write, just do it that moment, because the next moment might not even come. And we are only here, we are borrowed in this world. We are not here forever. You cannot, our ancestors, they died with all the rich stories that we need to research about now that we don't know. We cannot die with all these undeveloped seeds in our stomach and in our minds. We need to write it down and share it with the world. And that is how we can combat stress, depression, and from brokenness, and just finding a voice for those who are voiceless. And so it's
Wow.
just a matter to start and get it over and get it
Wow.
done. Who knows whose life you might change? Who knows what you can become and evolve to? It is just a matter of finding that inspiration within yourself, because you have everything. You don't need to go find it. You have everything that you need. Just write, whether it's on a page, on your phone, on the laptop, voice recording, just do it.
Wow. As you say that, as you share your parting words, I can see she's poetry coming out, it's very inspiring. And that is why I always look forward, to those poetry cycles, because, we perform and we actually share our thoughts and all that.
Yes.
Thank you for
You're
both of
welcome.
you for coming to really share your story here in the African, experience on the Bold Move, radio. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time that we have for today. I wish we had, more time to actually share, but we're gonna, say our goodbyes now. On the technical, team, I want to say thank you so much to DJ Messi, who's always making sure that everything actually goes well. And we also want to thank, the Bold Moves, technical team, Pastor Strike, for giving us this opportunity to share about, African experiences. And this is the platform where we celebrate anything and everything Africa. Beautiful story, and we are telling it our way, because we know Africa, when you read on the news and everything, it's everything negative about Africa. This platform is changing the narrative. We say, yes, we have beautiful stories, and you can hear for yourself, you can see for yourself that yes, Africa can actually do it for herself. We have beautiful stories. And thank you, and I see Tembeni again says, thank you, Dr. HLAMI, and your guests, Haroldene and Anthea. This was awesome. We truly need, the pen warriors and the pen soldiers. And like I said, Tembeni will be one of, the next, people that are actually joining the pen warriors and the pen soldiers. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you for making the time to spend with us tonight. Thank you. And thank you to everybody. We meet again next week, same time, and we'll be going through the African experiences here on the Bold Move Radio. Thank you so much. God bless.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
Streaming 24/7.
24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika nakupenda sana, oh Afrika nakupenda sana.